Alright, getting down to the last of it. Pretty much all I got to do right now is a little bit of intercooler work, but primarily we got to finish the exhaust system, or start it I should say. I do have to run a 2.5 inch pipe. I just don't have the space to make that bend using a 3. It is what it is. I'm not running crazy amounts of boost. The turbo won't really notice. So, starting this mock up. It's not going to be perfect. We're going to have to make kind of like a little flange or cutout right here to shore up that little hole, and then just send it down and out. I'll be using, for the most part, the exhaust system that came with the car, plus an old Flowmaster off my Jetta, which I no longer have. I got a MagnaFlow on there. We're going to pop that on this. A quick pro tip on custom building exhaust from scratch involving V-bands. Always actually fully bolt the V-band down. I mean tight. Because what can happen is if it's not fully tight, or if you don't even think to put it on, or if you just kind of eyeball it, or if you weld it without the V-band on there and it's off by a fraction of a millimeter, it doesn't make a seal. So always put the V-band on completely and tight, and then weld it on. And you're not going to see a lot of this fabrication process because it's hard enough to do exhaust work on the ground in a standard garage without needing to film everything you do. But here's what I got. This is pretty much the only new piece of pipe I had to use for this whole thing. I pretty much just repurposed the Honda and the Volkswagen exhaust from the old car. We got the downpipe, 2.5 V-band going 2.5. This is probably 2 and 3, like 2.38. It's not 2 1/4, but it's not 2.5 because the 2.5 slides right over it, which is great because it made this process extremely easy. I did not need a pipe bender or anything, or flare or anything. I just kind of hacked it up, put it all together. Had to add a little tab right there. Don't know where the other one went. And this is the whatever. It's a little resonator, probably does nothing. And we go on to the Flowmaster muffler that used to be on the Jetta. A little piece of pipe. I guess I lied. I did use like 4 inches of pipe, 6 inches of pipe. Goes back here. We cut the flange. That flange is going to be in the muffler, going up to that. And this little guy is going to make up that little bend that I just didn't quite get right. And then trailing all the way back to what made me giggle the first time I ever saw this car, my coworker pulled up. Bozu pipes, they are staying. I love them. I don't care who hates on them. They're staying. I love them. Well, it's about time to find out whether my Volkswagen Electronics will even let me do this. This is the battery relocation. It's in the trunk because there's not really any space under the hood. Well, there is and there isn't. But I put it in the trunk. It's got this little plate. Pretty damn sturdy. It's spec'd for a 24F. They're cheap. They're everywhere. This is a kind of junked core battery that still worked, or at least it did when it charged. It might be dead now, who knows. Simple stud, and then a huge gauge wire running it up to the front. Now, from experience, Volkswagens don't like having their electronics messed with, so I'm hoping this works. If it doesn't, I'll have to put a probably 51 series battery under the hood. I do have enough space to place it above the transmission. I actually have loads of space around the transmission area, even with the intercooler setup. So here's to hoping this actually works. Well, it's probably not gonna work. Pretty much as soon as I plugged this battery in, the fans came on, which is a good sign because it means the power was actually getting the ECU, but that cluster ain't lit up, just like last time I tried to lengthen a wire. So we might have to run the battery in the fender. Right now I'm going to see if that works. If not, we're going to have quite a big task ahead of us figuring out what wire I didn't plug in, or what resistance this car doesn't like, or whatnot. But yeah, last time I tried to lengthen a wire on top of the battery fuse box by about 2 feet, and the result was the cluster wouldn't even work. Like, nothing worked in the car. I'm hoping that's what happened here, and I'm really hoping that placing this battery back up front directly on top of the battery fuse box will result in me getting power. Other than that, yeah, I got a long road ahead of me. We'll just call it 2 weeks to figure that out. So I'm not really happy about that, but I suspect that was going to happen anyway. So yeah, here we are, back to the drawing board.